Ladies and gentlemen, from Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumble!
How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan and this is Haye, and welcome to a new segment on BoxTalk. This is This Week in Boxing, where we try to give you a quick review, post-review of what's going on in boxing this week. Trying to get everything under 10 minutes, so let's kick it off. Haye, let's start with Ricky Burns.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. You know what I mean? I'm the person that kind of slates people. You're rubbish, blah, blah, blah. I like Ricky Burns and really wanted him to win. I think very quickly, that's not just what happened on Saturday night. That's a result of the last 3 or 4 fights. Yeah, so for me, he stepped up big time in those last 4 fights. Look, Ricky Burns wasn't supposed to be a 2-weight world champion. He lost a few times early in his career. So look, he's done very well in his career. There's no shame about it. But I think in terms of world elite level, like we asked the question, I think he is just below that now, definitely.
With me, Ricky Burns, I'm still going to give him a break because I think he's had a very tough run and he's been, I wouldn't say hurt, but on social media, on websites, there's been a lot of criticism or not positive reviews for him in his last 3 fights. Most times people lose or have injuries, they take a long time to come back. He came back straight away after the losses, after the broken jaw and everything. I think he needs a long break now to reevaluate and see where he wants to go. And when I mean a long break, I don't mean 3 months, I mean 6 months to a year.
I think the question they got asked of Ricky Burns, what do they do? Do they put him, when he comes back, do they chuck him in an 8-rounder? Do they chuck him domestically? I think that's the questions. Obviously, Eddie Hearn's got a really kind of plan in terms of what they do. I think they've got to get him away from Scotland. They talked about that. He might fight on a London card, a Liverpool card. What he can't do is top the bill in Scotland. They've got to try and bring him back. That takes the pressure off.
Yeah. Let's go with last night. Ricky Burns. Sorry, not Ricky Burns. Gamboa versus Terence Crawford.
Yeah.
9th round knockout in a very entertaining, exciting fight. What do you think?
It was entertaining. It was exciting. There's a couple of things that were very obvious from the get-go. Gamboa is definitely not a lightweight, but let's have it straight. That, he has got power, and he's surprised me. He's got very good power and speed. And I think if he drops down to 130, he can cause a lot of people problems. I would love, I don't know if Rigondeaux them two can kind of get on at a weight. I'd love to see that fight, but it shows that Terence Crawford is the real deal. I said on Twitter after the fight that a star is born. To me, a star is born, and America needs it at the moment.
I agree. Terence Crawford is the real deal. I was a little disappointed with Gamboa in the sense, whereas he started well, boxed well, done things well, but when he started to train, he was square on.
Yeah.
And that's why he got dropped. Each time he got dropped, he was literally standing, both feet planted, square on, shoulders right in front of Terence Crawford, and got knocked out.
But he kept getting up.
No, he kept getting up.
I give him that. He kept getting up.
Crawford was not hitting with power shots.
Yeah,
it was hitting with clean,
technique,
technical, solid shots. Now I mean, but Gamboa took those shots because he was not prepared to take a solid shot. If anyone stands square on, you're going down.
Very quickly, on that point, I mean, it does highlight how well Ricky Burns did against Crawford.
Yeah.
So Ricky Burns probably watching that fight should think, maybe I'm not that as bad as people say I am, because he went 12 rounds with Crawford and never really got hurt at all in the fight. So that opens that up.
Next subject, let's go with the news, the reviews, the gossip, stuff what's going on in the boxing world. I'm going to start straight away with it. Haymon signs Miguel Vasquez and Vance Martosan. Why is he signing everyone? These are, again, no disrespect to Vance, but he's not a great fighter, not a marquee name. Why is he signing everyone? What's going on?
He's trying to create this I don't know, this UFC promotional thing where literally he has everyone, and if you're not with him, you're almost not going to get the money fights, you're not going to get big fights, you can't fight that fight. I mean, Eddie Hearn did an interview with Kugan Cassius on IFL where he even said Haymon's actually calling English fighters. Yeah. Unknown, sort of not top-ranked English fighters to sign them as well. So I think he's trying to literally clean up everyone and be a big, dominant, we all know, with Schaefer and Mayweather.
I would like to make a friendly bet right now. I reckon between now and the next episode of This Week in Boxing, there'll be another signing by Haymon.
Yeah, he's obviously, him and Eddie Hearn obviously competing for signing everyone.
Yeah, I mean,
trying to sign everyone.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Very quick, let's talk about Ryan Rhodes.
Yeah, Ryan Rhodes.
Surprise, I mean, it was put out there. Who's going to make, I think Kugan Cassius put out there, a British guy is going to make his comeback. A lot of people talking Joe Calzaghe. I actually did mention Ryan Rhodes could be one of those people. I didn't really expect it. What do you make of it?
I like Ryan Rhodes. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's talented, but I'm not sure where he goes in his comeback. Is he going for world level, going for European level, he's going for domestic level? I think he's way above domestic level. I think as a comeback, he wants to go for a European, but I don't know, especially at the weight, if it's going to be 154 or 160.
He said 160.
Yeah, I don't know if he could hold it and compete with the bigger guys at that weight class, but I think it's good for British boxing. I think you've got a bona fide guy that is credible, he's entertaining, He's good with the fans, good with the people, puts some good fights. No shame.
Yeah, you know what, you're right. There is no shame. I mean, see the difference. A lot of people on Twitter have tried to compare it to Ricky Hatton's comeback. Ricky Hatton was knocked out cold by Manny Pacquiao, and we all know Ricky Hatton in terms of after boxing, the weight. And Ryan Rose kind of said in an interview he's been sparring with Miguel Cotto, which was surprised to me. He said he went to Wildcard Gym. He said he'd done a few good sessions with Miguel Cotto. He obviously felt he could handle himself, and he handled himself well there. So I think that's opened up his eyes for a comeback. He mentioned Chris Eubank Jr. Who knows? Again, that could be an interesting fight. Another thing I'd like to mention very quickly: Danny Garcia.
Danny Garcia, yeah.
As I mentioned, who he'll fight.
And that terrible card.
Shocking card.
Yeah, the terrible card.
And Danny Garcia, rightly, has got a lot of criticism. I mean, after the Herrera fight, they were mentioning about a possible rematch. He said he doesn't want to fight Herrera because, in his own words, this is Danny Garcia's words, he wants to move on to bigger and better things. Yeah. This isn't it.
Everyone knows about BoxTalk, guys. Addy's a Twitter junkie. He's always on Twitter. He knows more. But for what I saw on Twitter, it was just a complete destroying the card. No one was impressed with that card. Reading a couple mailbags, couple forums, no one's happy with this card. And people are trying to hype it as it's a good card on the promotional side. Yeah. I just don't get it.
Yeah, America are doing this thing now where they seem to just think they can just chuck in a name against someone and think that the public are foolish to think that, you know, it's a good card. Or Danny Garcia's on it, Lamont Peterson's on it. It doesn't work out like that. We want to see competitive cards, not just big names on cards. And Danny Garcia, who's the lineal 140 champion, fighting a guy that's not even ranked in the top 50 from the weight below. Sorry, a light welterweight champion, fighting a guy not ranked in the top 50 from lightweight is embarrassing.
Definitely embarrassing. Again, moving forward, don't want to talk about Al Haymon again, but Ishande Lara said he's not a Golden Boy fighter. He's an Al Haymon fighter this week. That still throws up more things for this whole Golden Boy Al Haymon Schaefer situation, whereas everyone's kind of holding their cards close. Lara's came out straight away and said, look, I'm not with it. I mean, does that have implications going forward for his fight with Alvarez?
I don't think it'll have implications for this fight. It's one of the biggest fights of the year. It's two. If he said that February, March, it could. The fight's now only sort of 3-4 weeks away, so I don't think it's going to have implications for that. What it does do, it really does raise the question about this Al Haymon thing that no one really seems to have answers for. There's a lot of like people putting out subjects, and even Oscar's put out comments, and he doesn't seem to know what Al Haymon is or what Al Haymon does. So it's very, very interesting. Moving on.
I'm gonna have a quick moan. I've got a few things I want to moan about right now. I'm gonna start with this one straight away with Frampton versus Quigg. They're saying this fight possibly could happen in December with a rematch in 2015 when Quigg ain't even got a fight signed for September and he posted a fight. Frampton's got to get past Kiko Martinez. I don't like hype and gossip. I like facts. If you're going to announce a fight and say something's going to happen good, sign a contract. Don't say you're going to have a fight possibly at the end of the year when you still both got interim fights to go through. Yeah, there's almost like this guarantee that they're both going to win. And it's just all a bit messy at the moment. Look, it's a box nation, it's Matchroom. I don't really know. December's a long way from now. No. A long way from now. Why are you making speculations and moving forward with certain things when you couldn't get a fight signed when they didn't have a title? Now they've got titles as separate TV networks. So you're going to say you've got a fight in December? Yeah. I mean, it makes no sense. There's this thing that Eddie Hearn's doing at the moment, and he's almost tried to do it with Tony Bellew versus Cleverly as well. That they're going to fight if they both win. There's almost something similar to that, where after the Fox Groves, he put out the list of fights he wants, and I almost feel like calm down a bit. Yeah. These fights will happen. It's about building a fight as well, as he's always said. I think trying to pick these big fights that I want these ones next as big stadium fights ain't gonna work. Part of my moan still, Jeff Lacey making a comeback in July. Is that ridiculous or what? You got Catsius Earl, 5 years after the first fight. Didn't Catsius have a brain injury? Earl, we all know, has been shot for quite a while, fighting in Australia. Why are fighters hurting themselves? Is it strictly for the money, or? Oh, of course, there's no two ways about it. What's going on? Like you said, Graham Earl's not really been Graham Earl for the last sort of 5-6 years. He's actually, I've actually seen him in corners training people as well. Can you blame him? Katsidas is sort of massive draw in Australia, probably one of the biggest draws in Australia behind Danny Green and the rest of them. So it's going to be a big-ish fight in Australia. He's going to get paid. It's hard to turn that down. It's kind of similar to what we talked about with the American. But at least with Katsidas, we know he isn't going there for titles. We know he's strictly going there for money. If he can get himself in shape, I can't blame him to go to Australia and take the fight. My last bit of a moan, and it's not really a moan, Evander Holyfield says he's retired now. Yeah. So he's done with fighting, don't get hit in the face no more. That's done. The question I have for fans out there, one, do you really care? But secondly, similar to Roy Jones, they were both considered great fighters and they took on too much fights after their prime. Yeah. Does that hurt their legacies? Holyfield was a top 10, borderline top 15 fighter. Does that even count now when he's had so many losses, so much bad decisions, fighting for so many years? Please leave your comment below and tell us, what do you think about Holyfield? Is he still a great fighter? after all his bad choices?
Yes and no. Yes, because look, if you're a boxing fan, you almost know that line is when, okay, Holyfield stopped there. In terms of his best performances and last performances were there. Cough, don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
His last and best performances were there. Look, so if you're a fight fan, you kind of understand. Roy Jones, similar as well. We know he kind of stopped when he went from a light heavyweight to heavyweight and that boiled him down. So you kind of say, okay, that was the last or best of Roy Jones. So boxing fans should use their brain, really. You shouldn't count Roy Jones' other defeats. It doesn't make sense. And Evander Holyfield. Last quick thing as well I want to mention. Joe Gallaghers gym. Yeah. Recently, obviously, with Scott Caldwell, I think they took their fight tally to 51 unbeaten for a gym. Ridiculous. That's ridiculous. People might say, okay, yeah, there's a lot of domestic fights in there, but let's not forget, a lot of British champions in there as well. Scott Kigg's a world champion in there as well. To go unbeaten, remember, you can get unbeaten for a cut. Yeah. So to go unbeaten, props to that gym.
Last one for me, I just want to say is that one of my favourite websites, Max Boxing, lost 2 of its best writers in the past week. Steve Kim's moving on to other greener pastures apparently, and Gabe Montoya, who ran out the whole steroid scandal in boxing, is going to do other aspects in his life and career. I think it's a shame for Max Boxing because it's a great website. They lost Dougie a couple of years ago to Ring Magazine. Hope those guys do good at what they're doing, and that's me for This Week in Boxing.
Okay, final point for myself, David Haye. Adam Booth has recently come out and said David Haye's going to be more active as a heavyweight now. So that's probably talking like he could possibly, and I don't believe it until it happens really, have 3 fights in the next 9 months when he does come back. Look, David Haye does talk a lot. We all know that. He still is an entertainer. We still will tune in to watch him. If, and it's a very big if, he can do what Adam Booth is promising, it does make the heavyweight division a lot more interesting. I don't think David Haye can get away with fighting 3 bums. You know, the first one, yes, we kind of expect a warm-up, but after that, you never know. And David Haye, there's not many heavyweights out there I'd put and tick a box and say, yeah, definitely they'll beat David Haye. So I think David Haye can definitely cement himself in against fights like the likes of Bermain Stavern and Wilder.
I think it's a good thing David Haye's coming back. I think if he's active, it's very good for the sport and in general, not just for the UK side, but internationally as well. And there's big fights to be made. Yeah. My concern is that David Haye is that for the past 3 years, he's not been an active fighter. I.e., he's been fighting once a year since the Klitschko fight, had injuries, had the cut, the shoulder surgery. I don't know, can he do 3 fights a year? As much as he wants to, I think we have to wait until the ball starts rolling to see what happens from there.
You're right, really, because well, you look at David Haye, even when he was fit, he wasn't doing 3 fights a year. So that's a big question now with shoulder surgery, time off, can he do it? Look, guys, that's it. This is our first week review in boxing. I enjoyed it. Leave your comments below. There's loads of stuff we talked about, so leave your comments below about every and anything. Email us at
BoxTalk@hotmail.co.uk, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at BoxTalkUK.
And guys, look, don't forget to subscribe as well. And remember, check out ringnews24.com for your latest news about boxing. Guys, thanks for tuning in.